check the levels as well. Check the levels for the vocal.
By my side, even when the road gets tough, you're enough. I don't know how I deserve you. You know I'll always keep on coming back to girl, you're beautiful. I hope you know that. I hope you know that. I hope you know that.
Hello everyone and welcome, Dom here, and in this video I'm going to give you 5 easy steps that you can follow so that you can get a professional, big, smooth vocal sound every time, even when you're dealing with recordings when the vocals sound a little bit small. Let's get started. To begin with, I want to say thank you so much for your response on my previous video that I did about mixing vocals with FabFilter plugins. I got tons of comments on this video, tons of DMs on Instagram, and many of you requested that I make a similar video, but this time with Waves plugins. This request gave me an idea and I wanted to expand a little bit on the subject of mixing vocals. One of the things that many people struggle with is they have a vocal that sounds a little bit small, a little bit narrow, and you want your vocals to sound bigger than life. So in this case, I have an example like this, and we're going to try together and mix this vocal so that it sounds bigger. It sounds like it has a nice place in the mix. So I'm going to play this without any of the processing that we're going to do, and then I'm going to show you all the steps that I take to make these vocals big. I'm going to give you some tricks that I do. I'm going to show you some techniques that I'm using. I want you to pay attention to the level right here, okay? Pay attention to the level, and then I'm going to turn on the processing and you will see what will happen.
Now you know why I had to go. I had to go. I still love you.
So as you can hear, small, but check what happens when we add the processing.
Now you know why I had to go. I had to go. I still love you. I hope you know. I hope you know. Can't deny the truth.
So, massive difference, right? First step for a professional vocal sound when you're mixing is to correct and make the vocals smooth, okay? To begin with, before you start adding any processing, you know. I'm going to show you what steps I take. The first thing that I do is I add a channel strip. Now, in this case, I'm using the EV2 SSL channel strip from Waves, and that's because it has pretty much everything I need to get this vocal where I want this to be. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm adding mild compression, very, very mild compression. I'm adding a filter, and this filter will be determined on the vocal, of course. So if it's a female vocal, we can go a little bit higher with the filter right here. I'm also adding a little bit of EQ, so I'm adding some top end, and I'm removing some frequencies that are harsh. I'm not touching the low mids, and I'm adding a little bit of low end with the low band. So let's have a listen to how it sounds with and without.
Wait for an opportunity to escape. I don't belong here. Oh, I've got plans to take me miles away.
So as you can see, I'm barely touching the needle. Well, that's not a needle, but you know what I mean. I'm barely touching the compression, but immediately you can hear that the vocal sounds a little bit more together now.
I wait for an opportunity to escape.
You know, a little bit of top end.
I don't belong here. Oh, I've got plans to take me miles away.
I mean, this is a great vocal, but it sounds small in the context of the mix. So one of the reasons why it sounds small is because it has too many nasal frequencies, especially when the chorus comes in. And this means that we don't have body for the vocal. So one way to do this is I always like using this plugin for vocals, and this is the C6. And this is actually one of my presets that I use many times when I deal with situations like this. What the C6 is a multi-band compressor, but I find that it works great with vocals. So let me show you what it does in this case. Check it out.
Now you know why I had to go, I had to go.
See that I have to go? This is already, if you start analyzing your vocal, okay, this is another step, I could say. Start analyzing. I can hear that even though this vocal is not too dynamic, we can see the waveform, it's actually quiet, it's already a little bit compressed, she has a good technique. These frequencies just poke out,
I had to go, I had to go. Oh,
it's quiet, it really pokes out. So this fixes that. Check it out.
Now you know why I had to go.
See that?
I had to go. I still love you. I hope you know. I hope you know. Can't deny the truth.
But at the very beginning,
Wait.
see when she goes smooth, this band, the high mid band, it just lets this vocal go and do its thing, It doesn't suck the life out of the vocal like a single band compressor would do.
For an opportunity.
And I'm also just making sure that I take away some of the boxiness here in the 250s. Sometimes I go to 300, it depends on the vocal. It makes it really, really creamy. Now, you can choose how much range you're going to have for your reduction here. C6 and vocals, for me, they go together. So this is how we can start smoothing out our vocals, how we can start taming the frequencies before we get to the next stage. Now, the next step, step number 2, is compress and saturate in stages, okay? So what I mean by that, try not to over-compress with one compressor. Try not to oversaturate with one saturator. Try and just add little sauces to this dish, right? We have this vocal, we want to make it sound big, we want to make it sound nice. If you just add tons of salt or tons of, paprika, it's going to oversaturate the dish, okay? What we need to do is to add every little ingredient in the right dose. So in this case, I'm going to add my next ingredient, which is, of course, who doesn't know, RVox. Okay, this is a plugin that, has been around for ages, and I think that many people associate it with modern vocals. What I'm doing here, though, you will see that I am compressing not too much. I'm trying to level this vocal. Let's have a listen.
I wait for an opportunity to escape. I don't belong here. Oh, I've got plans to take me miles away. Oh, I'm gonna get it someday. Now you know why I had to go. I had to go.
And RVox has this beautiful quality where it makes a vocal come together. It's a really, really good plugin. It doesn't matter that it's old, it's still one of the easiest compressors to use if you are a beginner and you have no idea on how to use a compressor and you use RVox. Chances are that you're going to be fine with it, especially if you do the first step that I showed you earlier. Again, check the levels. I'm not boosting this vocal too much, but the body that we achieved with this vocal, it's already here. Check it out.
Can't deny the truth.
Now, the next stage, the next compression stage for me, again, I'm adding little flavors every time. And I mentioned this when I did my FabFilter video. I said that most of the times I would use a color compressor. And this is one of the compressors that I would use. This is the CLA2A, and this is one of my all-time favorites. I have a real LA2A right next to me. They don't sound the same, but pretty much every LA2A sounds different. So this is a good LA2A, and you're gonna see why. Let's have a listen, and you will see that, again, I'm adding just 2 dBs of compression.
I wait for an opportunity to escape. I don't belong here. Oh, I've got to take me miles away. Oh, I'm gonna get it someday.
It's not so small. Check how big a difference we made.
Oh, I'm gonna get it someday. Now you know why I had to go. I had to go. I still love you. I hope you know.
Okay, and we're not done yet. The next stage, because this CLA2A also adds a little bit of harmonic distortion, the next thing is to add the first saturator, proper saturator, and this is the Abbey Road saturator. Now, I love this on vocals. You know, I mean, Abbey Road has a huge history. This plugin, what it does is it adds a beautiful sheen to the vocal while adding harmonics. It has the compander that actually prepares the signal to go into the saturator. And these are the settings that I use, and I find that it always works very well on vocals. Check it out. Check out without it.
Wait for an opportunity to escape. I don't belong here. Oh, I've got plans to take me miles away.
It's to die, this saturator. I love the thing that it does on vocals. And, you know, you can make a vocal really shiny, and it doesn't add sibilance. That's what I like about this. And, you know, if you want to saturate a vocal as well, it's beautiful. Check it out.
Oh, I'm gonna get it someday. Now you know why.
For this plugin, you have to, I mean, for all of the plugins, but like I always say, you have to be careful with your gain staging. So make sure you don't go into red here on the input. It's very important, okay? It goes without saying. Gain staging, you have to take care of this. Watch my video if you're not sure why and how, okay?
Oh, I'm gonna get it someday.
Let's check it out.
Now you know why I had to go. I had to go. I still love you. I hope you know. I hope you know.
I mean, what can I say? The difference is really big already. Now, I'm going to add some more stages of, you know, enhancement. And the next thing that I'm going to do, especially when I have a thin vocal, is add a little bit of Pultec EQ. So what I'm doing here is I'm boosting the low end a little bit. I'm attenuating as well. This is 100 Hertz, and I'm boosting the top end as well. By the way, I'm going to have links to all these plugins down below if you're interested. If you decide to get one of these plugins and use the links down below, you're also supporting the channel. This is not a sponsored video, but if you like something and you want to get it, please use the links down below. I would really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm gonna get it someday. Now you know why I had to go. I had to go. I still love you. You know, I hope you know. Can't deny the truth. We were never meant to be. Sorry I had to leave.
Again, it takes away the smallness out of the vocal. It gives it a little bit more body. Before I move on to the third step, I want to show you something else. I'm also using the linear phase multiband here, and this I'm adding it just to shave off every last bit of harshness or anything else that I don't like in the vocal tone. And let me show you what this does.
Can't deny the truth. We were never meant to be. Sorry I had to leave. You're always on my mind, by my side. Even when the road gets tough, you're enough. I don't know how.
See, it just shaves off the last bits of harshness. Now, the last thing on the chain, sometimes I have the MV2. I don't think I need it in this case, but what I'm going to add is the L2. And this is, I mean, a very popular trick. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm lowering the threshold and the output ceiling using this control here, making the vocal a little bit more compact, a little bit more together by just taking 1 or 2 dBs off.
You're always on my mind, by my side. Even when the road gets tough, you're enough. I don't know how I deserve you. You know I'll always keep on coming back to you.
See, so basically I'm not raising the level because I'm controlling both of these at the same time, but I'm shaving just a couple of dBs so that the vocal is a little bit more together. So up to this point, let's see what we have with just these two first steps, and then I'm going to show you some really clever tricks, okay? Check the levels as well. Check the levels for the vocal.
By my side, even when the road gets tough, you're enough. I don't know how to deserve you. You know I'll always keep on coming back to you.
I mean, it almost, you know, sometimes it almost sounds like it's fake, but this is because we added harmonics, we added richness, we took away the frequencies that actually make you want to pull the vocal down in a mix because they are harsh, they're nasal, and we created a vocal sound that has a tone that's pleasing, and it sounds bigger even though in dBs, in terms of dBs, it's not really louder. The third step is a very important step if you want to get consistent, even vocals, especially if you're working with pop mixes and rock mixes and lots of other instruments. And this is parallel processing. And again, there are many ways to do parallel processing with vocals. Obviously, the first one, I'm going to show it to you, is by using a parallel compressor. And let me show you this right now. I have a parallel channel here, and I'm sending this to an 1176 compressor. This is the CLA 76, and this compresses the vocal quite a bit. So let me show you how this sounds on its own. I'm going to hit the listen button in Cubase.
To take me miles away. Oh, I'm gonna get it someday. Now you know why I had to go, I had to go. I still...
So this is just the compressor on its own in isolation. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend this super compressed signal. As you can see, ratio is 20:1. The attack is all the way. It's very fast attack. The release is also quite fast. And now I'm going to blend it in with the vocal. And this is going to give the vocal a lot of support. I'm adding this, of course, this also adds a little bit of saturation, so...
Oh, I've got plans to take me miles away. Oh, I'm gonna get it someday. Now you know why I had to go, I had to go.
And sometimes I add just a little bit. Now, one trick that I want to say straight away is if you have a vocal that gets lost, let's say in the chorus or something like that, then instead of writing the main vocal channel in the chorus, or when, you know, the mix gets busy, you can actually write the parallel channel, okay? The 1176 channel. So this is number one. The second parallel channel that I'm using here is a peculiar one. This is one of the things that I like to do. It's a little bit unorthodox. What I like to do is send my vocal to another parallel channel, and in this case, check what I have, the Kramer master tape. So what I'm doing here is two things, okay? Like I said, it's a little bit unorthodox. I'm adding a little bit of tape compression to this vocal. I'm blending it in. And the other thing that I'm doing is because the Kramer tape plugin also has a delay built in, so it has a slapback delay. I'm using this to also add a little bit of space to the vocals. But because there's no way to just have the delay without the original signal, I'm actually using it both ways, okay? So check what happens when I add this.
I wait for an opportunity to escape. I don't belong here. Oh, I've got plans to take me miles away. Oh, I'm gonna get it someday. Now you know why.
Without it?
I had to go, I had to go. I still love you.
See, so it makes the vocal bigger because we have this beautiful tape sound on the vocal in parallel. So I'm not affecting the dry signal, but again, I'm also having this beautiful slapback delay that works so well on vocals. It makes them sit in a mix. I'm not going to use them on everything, but maybe I'm going to ride this fader sometimes. I'm going to push it up a little bit, maybe in the chorus or something like this. The next step I want to talk about is all about width. You know, you hear vocals sometimes, especially pop vocals, and sometimes they sound so wide. The rule is that a lead vocal should be in the center, but still, sometimes you might want to highlight some sections of the vocal with some width. And what I'm doing here is I'm adding, again, a send effects that I call width, and check what I have here. This is again a plugin that I've been using for ages, and it's the Real ADT from Waves. And basically what this allows you to do is it allows you to get this double track kind of sound. It takes the signal, it duplicates it left and right, and you have this vari speed like a real tape would do. So as you can see, the speed changes. That means we're going to have variations in pitch, which is really hard to replicate because this, see, it goes back and forth, so the pitch will change, so it will never sound the same. It's not going to be consistent, but this is what gives you this sense of width. So what I'm doing here is I'm completely removing the dry channel because this is a send effect. It's all the way down, and then I'm panning these two vari speed channels left and right, hard left and right, and check what happens. Check what I can do if I want to add a little bit of highlight on some phrases or make the vocal sound a little bit wider.
I hope you know, can't deny the truth. We were never meant to be. Sorry I had to leave. You're always on my mind, by my side. Even when the road gets tough, you're enough.
And I love this plugin, it's so beautiful, and you know, if you add it in the right amount, I wouldn't go too far with it. I wouldn't raise the fader so much. I would just add just a touch until you can't really tell that something is going on, but your brain will know that, okay, this sounds really wide. So you trick the listener that this vocal is wide, but you don't hear it as a chorus or something like this. Sometimes I like to EQ this channel, so I go here and add a little bit of top end in this channel.
You're always on my mind, by my side, even when the road
You have to be careful with sibilance, of course, but this is a really good trick. Now let's go to step number 5, and of course this is all about space. We're talking about delays, we're talking about reverbs, and one of my favorite ones is, first of all, the H delay from Waves. I mean, for me, this also has a classic status. What I have here is a ping pong 8th note with a little bit of feedback, no analog, and I'm using the high pass and low pass filters to make this sit better in the mix. So let's add this, and then I'm going to show you what I'm doing with the reverbs.
For an opportunity to escape, I don't belong here. Oh, I've got plans to take me miles away.
See? So I'm filtering it so that it sits better in the mix and it doesn't sound like it's clashing with the vocal.
I had to go, I still love you, I hope.
And of course I will automate it as well. Now, the last thing that I'm going to add in this vocal is the reverb, and I'm gonna show you one of my favorite reverbs again. This is the Abbey Road Studios Chambers. I love this reverb. I can't say enough good words about this reverb. I'm not sure if it's because of the Abbey Road signature, and I mean, of course, they endorse this plugin, so you know, it's bound to be good, but it is good. It is good. And let me show you how nicely it sits in the mix, okay? I'm going to add it. I'm going to pull down the fader first, and then I'm going to just introduce it. Let's have a listen.
I wait for an opportunity to escape. I don't belong here. Oh, I've got plans to
See, it doesn't scream reverb. It doesn't scream reverb. But once you remove it, you're going to miss it. Check it out.
I wait for an opportunity to escape. I don't belong here. Oh, I've got plans to take me miles away.
What I like about this reverb is not how, it sounds as a reverb itself, even though it sounds amazing, but how it supports the vocal. It really gives the vocal width and weight. Check it out.
Oh, I'm gonna get it someday. Now you know why I had to go. I still love you.
Now our vocal is done. Okay? I'm going to turn off everything. Let's see.
Girl, you're beautiful. I hope you know that. I hope you know that. I hope you know that you could rule the world. Where's your mind at? Where's your mind at? One day you'll see that.
And of course you can play with all these textures, all these different colors to your heart's content. So if you have a small sounding vocal and you don't know where to begin, now you know, try these steps and I guarantee you your vocal is going to sound 10 times better. But you have to try all these steps. You have to critically listen to the take, listen to the vocal, listen to the frequencies, listen to any problems, and then do all the steps one by one, and you will get to a fantastic vocal sound. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments down below. Hit the like, subscribe if you want to see more, because I'm doing videos like this all the time. Let me know what you want me to do next. So happy mixing to all of you. I'll see you soon. Take care.